I called 20 to 25 agencies. I also sent out more than 100 requests on sites.
There are too many people, young people, students, but also young professionals like us that can't find housing and are in subpar flats.
This is how difficult it is to find a home in Paris, but despite this high demand, Paris is still not occupied to its full potential. Of all its housing properties, 80% are really occupied and 20% are empty. And the more we move towards the center of the city, the more this phenomenon becomes pronounced. But the question is, why do we have unoccupied properties when there is such a high demand? Historically, we know that when you buy an apartment, it's either because you want a place to live without paying rent, or it's a form of investment that you want to rent out and earn some passive income. Sounds logical, right? But this is not really true anymore. In cities like Paris, we are noticing something different. So, to put this into perspective, let's say we have this guy and let's call him Jordan. He's a rich guy and currently he has 10 million euros in his bank account. But he doesn't want to keep the cash because he knows it's only a matter of time before it goes to zero. So he needs a safe place to park the money and store his wealth. A place that is going to hold value for a long period of time. So after considering a couple of options, Jordan looked at this graph which basically represents the evolution of apartment prices in one of the most affluent neighborhoods in Paris. And he noticed something interesting. If we put this into numbers, it basically means a 100 square meter apartment which cost 906,000 euros 10 years ago is now costing 1,176,000 euros. Alright, this doesn't take into account factors like inflation adjustment. But still, in the eyes of a businessman like Jordan, this is good news because it shows that the Parisian apartments have held their value over the years, which means they have been desirable on the market and they will still most probably continue to do so in the coming years. So theoretically, there is some guarantee that he is not going to lose his money over the years. So he buys a couple of beautiful apartments, but renting them out is not one of his intentions.
We are working, we earn a salary, we have our papers, the children go to school. We have jobs, we could afford to pay rent. So why don't they house us?
This building has been empty for several years, and I've already said it's not normal to leave buildings empty in Paris or elsewhere because there are families who urgently need housing.
He wants to exploit the superpower of real estate. He knows that the value of housing properties doesn't only reside in rental services, but the actual value lies in the asset itself. In his mind, tenants are a liability who are most likely going to deteriorate the property and cause an unnecessary headache. Therefore, the property remains empty for a long period of time. People like Jordan are well known as speculative investors. They buy properties and leave them vacant, expecting their value to rise over time. And he doesn't only own properties in Paris, but also in other affluent cities like Dubai and Singapore, where prices are more likely to rise. Although speculative ownership contributes to the shortage of apartments, there are other factors to take into account. And to see what's really going on here, let's introduce a new friend and let's call him Lucas. So he lives in a village, and just like most people, he likes to visit Paris from time to time, and when he does, he doesn't like to book hotels or Airbnbs. So for his occasional visits, he buys another house in Paris. But when he's not using the property, during the time he's in the village, the Parisian house is empty, and just like Jordan, he doesn't want to risk putting a tenant. Now it's important to know that for the purpose of discouraging the accumulation of properties without renting them out, the government has introduced measures to address vacant properties and speculative ownership. So cities like Paris, where it's extremely difficult to find a home, are subject to taxes on unoccupied residential properties. 17% of the estimated annual rent if the property is declared unoccupied for the first year, but this can even go up to 30%. If the property is declared unoccupied for the second year, the rate is 34%, but again, this can be increased to 60%.